Was embarrassed by it. She even talked about, what would I tell my mom if something like that?
Moments we hadn't seen before. Cassie barefoot in a dark hoodie, waiting for the elevator and using the hotel phone. And this security director, responding to the attack, took these pictures of the aftermath. Broken vases and marks on
testimony, again graphic. Ventura's husband, Alex Fine, at one point walking out of court as his wife was peppered with questions about allegedly being raped. Also today, Dawn Richard spotted entering court, the former member of Diddy's girl group, Diddy Cassie, who prosecutors also
It's been extremely challenging, but also remarkably empowering and healing for me. I hope that my testimony has given strength and a voice to other survivors and can help others who have suffered to speak up and also heal from abuse and fear. For me, the more I heal, the more I can remember. And the more I can remember, the more I will never forget.
Thing that you may want to confess tonight before you go in.
I keep everything right here. There you go. Or right.
Cute? Nah, not once you know the real story. What Cassie was hiding that night wasn't just a secret. It was a silent cry for help. Behind the glam was a full-blown nightmare. Years of humiliation, twisted freak-offs, and being under total control. And get this, people say Diddy beat her in the Met Gala bathroom and while other celebs watched and did nothing. Now she's back, pregnant and fearless, testifying in court and finally airing it all out. And it's darker than anyone guessed. We're talking freaky parties with random strangers, emotional blackmail, and a mental collapse so heavy Cassie said she wanted to walk into traffic. She even compared it to that wild Ike Turner moment. Eat the cake, Anna Mae style. Now that the court has seen the footage, there's no hiding anymore. The truth is out, and the courtroom's lit up.
So the federal agent who helped coordinate the search of Sean Combs' hotel room, she's the one that held up $9,000 in cash, kind of fanned it like a deck of cards for the jury to see. She also testified that there was ketamine and MDMA found in Combs' hotel room and other, well, kinds of supplies that Cassie Ventura said he would stock for free.
So what exactly did Cassie survive? And how bad could this get for Diddy's future behind bars? Diddy's legal team is scrambling, asking, if it was so bad, why didn't she speak up sooner? But the answer? It's chillingly simple. Fear. That deep, paralyzing fear of what Diddy would do if she even flinched the wrong way. And don't get it twisted. Cassie didn't name-drop Ike Turner for nothing. That reference was a bomb. Those words carry decades of pain, because if you really know the Ike and Tina story, then you already understand. This was never just about bruises. This was about power, silence, and survival. This wasn't just about control, it was about owning someone. Controlling how they dressed, how they spoke, how they even felt.
Cassie Ventura, who is 9 months pregnant, was on the stand for the second day in a row. The jury was shown photos of past injuries. She also testified the freak-offs left her with sores, frequent UTIs, and stomach problems.
That kind of fear makes you stay quiet, fake a smile, and pretend it's love. And that's exactly what Cassie said she lived through. She was barely out of high school, a brand new face in the industry, while Diddy was pushing 40. She thought she was being discovered, but instead, she was getting locked down. When asked in court, "When did you sign with Bad Boy Records?" Cassie replied, 2006, it was a 10-album deal. And how many albums came out after that? None. Yup, just one album, and a decade of horror instead. She said this wasn't just abuse. She was groomed for it. Treated like a star in the beginning, then slowly stripped of all power. Year by year, until there was nothing left. Just like Tina Turner, Cassie was expected to smile for the cameras and stay silent behind closed doors. But that silence, it's done.
She did, Eva, and she had kept her composure for most of her 4 days on the witness stand under really uncomfortable cross-examination and testimony generally, the most intimate, graphic, demeaning things that you could imagine she spoke about in open court in front of everybody. And she broke down today when she was asked by prosecutor Emily Johnson on redirect examination whether Sean Combs had her during freak-offs, those marathon-fueled sessions with.
In court, she laid it all out, from being forced into freak-offs with hired men, to being drugged, humiliated, peed on, recorded without consent, and even attacked right before those setups. And then came Daniel Phillips, the male escort himself, taking the stand with stories that shook the room. He said Diddy forced him to use Cassie's mouth while she choked, all while Diddy filmed it for blackmail. He also said he saw Diddy hit Cassie twice, drag her by the hair into a bedroom while she screamed. And what followed? It sounded like slaps. This wasn't just abuse. This was a trap disguised as love, and the receipts are coming out in court. Man, this whole thing'll make your skin crawl. Cassie didn't just hint at the horror. She confirmed every dark piece herself. In court, she looked that prosecutor dead in the eye and recalled saying, "Why were you choking me? Too much in my mouth. Who else you want on me? You, Sean? Did you want Sean to on you?" Then she answered the gut-punching truth. "I didn't want anyone to on me." How often did it happen? Often enough. Let that sink in. This wasn't just random. It was routine. And if that wasn't enough, she added this. "I was expected to do freak-offs even on my period." Did she want to? No. Let's be clear, this wasn't wild party behavior. This was straight-up ritual humiliation, twisted and dehumanizing. She said she couldn't even say no without fearing for her safety. Why'd she talk to him gently? "I didn't want him to be angry." Cassie even had to erase evidence from her own phone to protect herself from being blackmailed. She texted Diddy, "Please delete the videos off your phone." But his reply? "Too many people have access to your devices. No iCloud, all good. Ambien kicking in." And just when she thought she was finally free, he allegedly RD her during a closure talk, right there on her own living room floor. Now picture saying all this, 9 months pregnant, facing the man who did it, in front of a packed courtroom, and knowing the whole world would soon hear your truth. Her tears hit everyone hard, but one quote? That broke the room. Cassie said, "I would give the money back because I would have agency and autonomy and I wouldn't have to work so hard to get those things back." That's the $20 million she got from Diddy's settlement, and she'd trade it in a heartbeat just to get her freedom back. She said she'd give it all back, just to have her freedom. That's not just heartbreak. That's a woman screaming to break out of a cage. And that's why her Ike Turner text was played loud in that courtroom. Because freedom is what Tina Turner fought for too. Tina once said, "I felt obligated to stay there, and I was afraid. I didn't want to hurt him. And after he beat me up, I was just sitting there bruised and torn. And I felt sorry for him. Maybe I was brainwashed." That pain? Cassie echoed it word for word. Cassie told the court she used to blame herself for everything. She carried the shame. She covered the bruises. She smiled when all she wanted was to vanish. She was living a double life, one adored by the public, and another that her own mirror couldn't even recognize. "I felt like an object, being heavily objectified by men." That's what she said, out loud, in court, while reliving every traumatic moment. Her pain hit so hard that her own husband had to walk out during her testimony. And yes, she got a $20 million settlement, but she still showed up anyway. 9 months pregnant, belly out, truth in hand, because what she really wanted was her power back. But just when the headlines started quieting down, boom! The 2018 Met Gala interview resurfaced. And suddenly, it wasn't just Cassie testifying anymore. Real life was backing her up. This wasn't just about the courtroom anymore. This was proof spilling out everywhere. The footage didn't lie. It was right there, in her face. That one moment everyone ignored in 2018? Now it's crystal clear in 4K, and it might just blow this whole case wide open. The Met Gala is supposed to be fashion's most elite night, but behind all the glam and glitter that year, something dark was hiding. Back then, folks thought Cassie looked a little off, maybe mysterious, maybe just quiet. But now, it feels like a cry for help, like a secret code stitched into her custom gown. A woman blinking out a message, praying someone would see past the gloss and save her. Because according to Cassie, behind all the red carpet shots and flashing lights, she was being controlled, humiliated, and abused. Every single day. And that night, sources say Diddy allegedly assaulted her in a Met Gala bathroom, with other celebs nearby, and not one person stepped in. That's the twisted thing about people like Diddy. They don't just do dirt in the dark. They do it out in the open, right in front of folks too scared or too loyal to say a word. Now fast forward to her courtroom testimony just days ago. Cassie laid it all out, how she wasn't allowed to say no, how her body, her schedule, even her health, were all managed by one man. For one thing, freak-offs. And those freak-offs, they became her full-time job. There was no rest, no room to breathe, just perform, then recover, if you even could. This wasn't just fashion. It was a mask for trauma. And now that mask is off. Cassie didn't just talk about the freak-offs. She talked about what came after. She said it left her with sores and UTIs so constant and painful, even antibiotics stopped working. When asked how it felt during the freak-offs, she said it straight. Burning. I would not advise it. That pain wasn't just physical, it was psychological torture. And it didn't stop there. She wasn't just forced to participate. She was allegedly recorded, filmed, and threatened with those tapes anytime she stepped out of line. One time, she tried to date someone else, and Diddy allegedly said he'd leaked the freak-off footage. Cassie told the court, "I'd have to answer to my mother. It's horrible and disgusting. No one should do that to anyone." When asked what Diddy said the result would be, shame. So now, when people rewatch that old Met Gala clip, it's not just about curiosity anymore. It's sickening. The signs were always there. Her tense body language, that strange, rehearsed tone. Diddy standing behind her, laughing, but watching her every move. And what the live stream didn't catch? The part after the red carpet. Rumors say Cassie was assaulted in a private bathroom that night. And according to both courtroom testimony and insider whispers, she wasn't alone. Other celebs were allegedly nearby, maybe even inside. Did they hear something? See something? A thud? A shout? A broken woman walking out? Possibly. But nobody said a word. Because in 2018, Diddy wasn't under fire. He was still on top. Puff, Brother Love, the untouchable hitmaker who could crush a career with one call. And in a world like that, silence was the rule. To the outside world, Cassie was just another pretty artist who got lucky by dating the boss. That's how people painted it. But behind the scenes, she was living in pure hell. That Met Gala moment, it became a perfect snapshot of what she said her life was like for a decade. Bruises buried under designer gowns, trauma hidden behind that flawless red carpet smile. All while her partner, accepted, protected, and praised, sat at the top, writing checks that kept the silence flowing. A room full of powerful people knew, and still shrugged it off like, "That ain't my business." Cassie kept showing up, but on the inside, she was breaking. "There was a time I couldn't take the pain. I tried to walk out into traffic." In court, she revealed how Diddy allegedly slammed her into walls, stomped her face, dragged her across hotel carpets, and at one point, threw her across patio furniture after dangling her off a balcony. And it's not just her word anymore, the proof is out. That 2016 hotel surveillance video finally dropped. Back then, rumors exploded. The edited version had people shocked. But Diddy's team? Silent. No charges, no fallout, just silence. But now, that full 15-minute video was played in court. Raw, uncut, no filters, inside Manhattan Federal. And according to reporters who were in that room, it left the place silent. Because the version we saw online? That was nothing. The real footage showed everything Cassie said. Her barefoot, desperate, calling the front desk for help, the aftermath of a freak-off gone wrong. And Diddy allegedly chased her, dragged her back, and trashed the hotel room while she tried to escape. It wasn't just a scandal. It was a cry for survival caught on tape. The jury didn't just see the attack. They held the evidence in their hands. Federal agents rolled out the cash, the baby oil. All the stuff Cassie said was used during the freak-offs. And guess what? It was all recovered from Diddy's hotel room the night he got arrested. Then the prosecution hit with the one question that shut the whole room down. Did he beat you during the freak-offs? Cassie's eyes? They said everything. The answer was yes. At this point, we're way past rumors. This case has it all. Surveillance footage, live testimony, a federal raid, visible injuries, and a survivor brave enough to put everything on the line just to reclaim her peace. And still, it took years for folks to believe her. Why? That's the real question. Why did everyone stay quiet? Because Cassie wasn't locked in some hidden basement. She was right there, front row at fashion shows, in the VIP booths, on every major red carpet, holding Diddy's hand at the Met Gala, the Grammys, the BET Awards, all of it. She was being abused while standing in plain sight. And where were all the celebs, the insiders, the influencers with platforms and power? Silent, watching, complicit. Now Cassie's blowing the lid off all those whispers that floated around for years. She confirmed that Diddy kept an army, assistants, bodyguards, celebrity friends, and made sure she was treated like property, pushed, slapped, stomped on, sometimes right in front of them. Nobody stopped it. Nobody spoke up. Because when the monster signs your checks, people look away. Cassie testified that after one wild and violent night, she showed up to a party bruised and battered, and instead of asking if she was okay, a BET executive looked her dead in the face and said, "Smile?" Because when it's Diddy, you smile. You keep the vibe right. You laugh. You pose. You post the picture. Nobody wants to be the one that ruins the party mood, even if someone's bleeding behind the scenes. And the few people who did try to help, they either got iced out or straight up scared off. One time, after Diddy allegedly beat her, Cassie reached out to Scott Miscooty, yep, Kid Cootie, for help. Diddy's response? According to Cassie, Sean said he wanted Scott's friends to see Scott's car blown up. And guess what? Cootie's car did explode. That's not a movie scene. That's real life. That's how Diddy allegedly moved, with money, fear, and raw power. Even Daniel Phillips, the male escort who testified just days ago, said the same thing. When the defense asked why he never spoke up, his answer hit hard. My thoughts were that this was someone with unlimited power. And chances are, even if I did go to the police, I might still lose my life. And for those not directly threatened, in an industry that worships image, who's really gonna stand up against the man holding the checkbook? Now let's shift to Dawn Richard from Danity Kane, another former artist under Diddy's label. She was recently called to testify too. Just like Cassie, Dawn filed a lawsuit in 2023, accusing Diddy of abuse and exploitation. So no, Cassie wasn't alone. She was part of a pattern, a long list of women who were silenced, shamed, and discarded once they stopped smiling for the camera. Dawn worked side by side with Cassie for years. She saw it all go down. And now, she's done staying quiet. She told the court about the day Cassie came downstairs asking where Diddy's phone was, and he threw her to the ground, then tried to kick her while she was curled up in the fetal position, literally shielding her head to survive. Dawn even said she once saw Diddy hit Cassie with a skillet full of eggs. She was terrified for Cassie, but even more scared for herself if she dared speak up. But even with brave survivors stepping forward, the silence from other celebs? Louder than ever. Where's the accountability? Where's the energy from the folks who stood next to Diddy on the red carpet? All smiles. Posting Me Too when it was trending, then scrolling right past Cassie's pain like it was nothing.
Let's be honest for a second. The industry protected him. They let him wild out because the music was hot, the money was right, and nobody wanted to lose VIP access to Bad Boy for life. And Cassie? In their eyes, she wasn't a victim. She was a young, beautiful woman living the high life. They didn't see the control. They didn't see the fear. They saw privilege. But now, the tapes are out. The 15-minute hotel footage has been played. The photos exist. The testimonies are raw. And yet, still, silence. When Cassie walked out of that courtroom, she didn't need to say much. Her lawyer did it for her. And those words hit like a gavel. That wasn't a press statement. That was a mission. Because Cassie's not just fighting for herself anymore. She's speaking for every woman who's been groomed, silenced, and forced to rot in the shadows while someone else shined. And this week, it's been explosive. Hollywood's starting to tremble because if Diddy goes down, he's not going quietly, and he's definitely not going alone. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe Cassie was the only one? Why do you think so many celebs stayed silent for so long? And be real, do you think more footage is still out there just waiting to drop? Drop your thoughts and receipts in the comments below, 'cause we're far from finished. This trial's picking up speed, and the tea, it's boiling over. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and don't miss what's coming next. Because this next twist might just make Hollywood burn. See you on the next one.